make sure we're online here.
It says live in 1 minute, 11 seconds.
Oh, we've got it scheduled, so you won't see this part.
You hope.
Should I tilt the camera up a little bit?
I don't know. Do you want him to read your hat?
I think it's okay.
You look like you're hunched down to be in the camera instead of...
Yeah, I like being on my elbow.
Watch live now. Now we're live.
I think we're live.
We're live.
Somebody let us know if we're live. Also, let us know if the dishwasher sound in the background is annoying. I can go turn that off. So while we're waiting for people to show up and start throwing some questions at us, we have some update stuff that I can cover until people get here. It's been a good week for completing projects. We've had some really good weather in the 50s, even though we got some hail and a little bit of snow last night. It was melted off, I think, before we went to bed, wasn't it?
Yeah, it didn't really stick around.
Yeah. So, hey, Country Dad's here. Saw your video the other day, you getting your garden ready. I'm envious. That was awesome. I wanted to ask you, though, how come you only till in one direction? If you could let me know that. But glad to see you guys kicked out another video. But anyway, we've been completing projects. I got, if you have been with the channel a while, you remember that little porch I made for the chicken coop. I got that painted, and Kelly got the brick laid for that yesterday for the little foundation, and we got that buttoned up. So that was good. And then I wired that new trailer that we got and moved some stuff around, did some cleaning up around the property, and just basically getting stuff done and checking things off the list. It's been nice. Cool, can't hear the dishwasher. So, other things we got going on, the bees have overwintered fantastic. I think we got a winning combination with that cover box that we've made. I've seen so many people on YouTube going to crazy extremes with insulation and all this other stuff, and they're still having issues. So you might want to try the box that we got going on here. It's been working great. We gave them some syrup. They've been flying. So we've got a good jump start until we start seeing some blooms out there. We'll continue to give them a little syrup here and there. But most likely they still have some honey in the hive. Little update on the pups. Ruby's doing really well. We're very pleased with her. She's learning very quickly. As with any healer, she's a ball of energy. So we have to kind of contain that energy sometimes. And every now and then, the only issue we've had is if Ruby's next to me or Kelly and Brandy runs up, she gets a little excited. Yeah. Protective. I think it's a protection mode kicking in, even though she knows Brandy. House loose while we've been gone for the first time or two, and she did well. She didn't chew nothing up other than took her toys out, which was fine. I started doing some tests, leaving them out in the yard as I leave. I know Brandy's good because I've done that with her, but I wanted to make sure Ruby didn't run down the road after me, and she didn't. She goes halfway down the driveway, just stands there and looks and watches me leave, and then when I get back, she's out romping around about back and comes up and greets me. So that's been working well too, and that will come in handy here during the summer when we're both doing stuff. They can just hang out outside. We do have to make sure that we don't have any deliveries coming. We made a mistake yesterday. The garbage man came and we had Brandy out, although it looked like things went okay. So we've got the windmill moved, the tower, so we're going to start working on that. We'll get that up in the air. I'm going to have the tower standing for a while before we mount the actual windmill head up on the top, because I want things to solidify real good underground and get nice and tight before I put something up there that's going to pull on the windmill tower. Just started hauling corn again today. If you remember last spring, I hauled some corn for another outfit. My boss that I worked for during harvest gave me a call they're normal guys helping his family out, getting the planters and everything ready for harvest, and has been pretty busy. So I got the call and he asked me to come move some bin corn into town to one of the feed mills. So I did that today. It's going to be once or twice a week, not too bad. I wanted to talk a little bit about grain bin safety. There's a lot of people around that have working grain bins, and if you have kids that go visit people's farms and stuff like that, make sure they know to stay out of the grain bins. I know it's neat to climb on those things. Anything you can climb on when you're a kid, you want to do that. I did it when I was a kid. But grain bins are very, very dangerous, even for adults that know what they're doing. So make sure you have that talk with them if your kids are going to be around a farm that has a bin. We had a tragedy here locally this last week where somebody I knew, somebody I worked with last year, died in a grain bin. Terrible, terrible, tragic accident. It really took everybody off guard because he was a pretty smart guy, so that just goes to show you that it can happen to anybody. He had 7 daughters. One of them is getting ready to get married. It's just terrible. So if you could keep that family in your prayers, and I know we do too. So educate your kids about that kind of stuff. Got lots of welding projects coming up. Probably 4 or 5 if you're interested in those. If not, they'll be in a playlist and you don't have to watch them. You can go to the playlist if you do. So we've got some good recipes coming your way. Fantastic stuff. We're starting some stuff for the garden. I got some tomato seeds I'm going to be probably starting tomorrow and get those going. Some peppers, anything that's hard to sow directly into the garden, I'm going to get started. So we got that ready. We're going to start doing some mulching out in the rows of the garden because the garden's almost dry enough to where we can walk in there without just getting everything all mudded up. So we can start doing that. Perfect time right now in the spring for weed spray, folks. Start thinking about that before the weeds get out of control. Right now when they're just starting greening up and starting to sprout, is the best time when they're nice and green to spray them. If you've got any spraying that you do on your property, now's the time to do it. You'll get a jump on it and you'll be much happier later. Make sure to put a pre-emergent into your mix for those seeds that haven't sprouted yet, and you'll thank me later for that. Our drip system in the garden, we're going to have to flush that out. What I do is just open the ends of them, turn the water on, and let any debris that's in them or calcification or whatever that's built up in the hose, flush it out the end, and then we can start using the drip system as needed out in the garden. It's going to be a while before we need it. For the fruit trees, I've had some issues. We have very hard water here on the property, and even though I have emitters on there that I can take apart and clear, they plug too quickly. So I checked into DripWorks. I actually called them and they told me about a non-clogging emitter they have. I found it in the catalog. So I'm going to be ordering one of those for each fruit tree. And we have 3 fruit trees to replace. If you've seen those videos, we lost 3 of our fruit trees, 2 pears and a Fuji apple. Whatever's eating on those, I believe it's a rabbit, but really loves the pears because we've lost a pear last year too. So I'm going to get the plastic wrap to go around the bottom of the tree, and I'm also going to put hardware cloth around those cages that we have so the holes are much tighter, because when we had that 2 foot of snow this year, they were able to get up and get through the larger holes that are closer to the top of the wire. So we'll fix that too. And then we just getting ready for spring. We're going to have to check out all of our equipment, make sure everything's running, make sure batteries are good. Everything we have is on a battery tender, so we should be fine. But we do need to go around and check out all that. So good time of year to do it, especially if you get something fixed. You want to get your equipment in early, because once spring starts, the people that fix that stuff is going to have a huge backlog. So make sure you get on that. So That's about all the update that I have. Do you think of anything, Kelly, that we got coming up?
No, I think you covered most of what we got.
All right. Who's here?
Who's here?
Yeah, who's with
Oh,
us?
here's with us. Country Dad and Country Fun.
Country Fun, Country Dad's wife.
Yeah.
Glad
and
you're
he
here.
says, in response to your question, the tiller throws the dirt to one side and leaves a small ditch. So
Okay.
he goes in one direction. Nothing
Gotcha.
changes no matter how he adjusts it.
So is your tiller a forward tilling motion or a reverse? I prefer a reverse, but sometimes they're hard to find. But I did notice when I was tilling, was it last year? The tiller I was using was a forward, and it caused a little buildup on one side and then the little trench on the other side. So now I
He says it's
understand
forward.
why you're doing that. Cool.
And then Beth Davis and Katie Harpole Kate Harpole.
Nice to have y'all. Now I have found with the forward running tines that sometimes it kind of wants to push your tractor along too. So that's kind of why I like the reverse tines. And I know that the tillers that they have down here at Tractor Supply that I've been eyeballing and saving for, you can get them at either one, but sometimes you're stuck with what's on the yard. So, any questions?
Not that anybody said yet. I think Country Fun said she liked the cabbage tetherball for the chickens.
Oh, that was cool.
I had a couple of questions on the Facebook page about where I got that, so I'm pretty sure I bought mine off of Amazon, but I've seen them at Tractor Supply. They have that, and they have there's little treat balls that have like a bungee cord in the middle that holds the ball together, but you put treats in it and it rolls around and the treats fall out of the chickens. That's chicken soccer.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. You had that at our previous house, didn't you?
I
Or
had
did
both
you
of
buy a
them,
new
yeah.
one?
No, I had both of them. I brought them. They fit in the tote, so.
There was one time that we just took a lag screw, or a lag eye is what it's called. It's like an eye bolt, but it's got a lag thread instead of a machine thread. You can just screw that into the, what do you call that? The core of the cabbage, and then hang it that way too, if you don't want to buy the fancy little cage. Now I am going to I've been thinking about putting, but I need to clear it through Kelly, a little swing out there for them to roost on and play around on, because I've seen chickens enjoy that before. But
Ruby drinking behind us. If you hear that noise.
yeah, Ruby drinks about a half a gallon at a time.
Yeah, I don't know which one of the chickens would use it, but they might.
Never know.
They like the tree branches, so you can just hang it from one of the branches in the tree.
Yeah. So things have been drying up here, which has been nice, because if you've been following, you know we had a lot of mud going on out here. We have very little ice left, only on the north sides of either trees or structures do we have any ice left, which is good. We've been looking forward to the ice going away because it's hard to walk on and it's hard to get rid of. I tried with the tractor the other day to kind of get underneath it, maybe pop it up and then move it somewhere out into the sun so it would melt, but no luck with that. It's frozen down solid to the ground. Crazy. One of the projects I'm going to be working on in the shop, one of the welding projects, is a larger auger for our 3-point post hole digger. Large enough to where we can like drill a tree hole with it. And then we also got that stump wrecker bucket from Good Works Tractors that's just a real narrow bucket, so it concentrates the pounds per square inch in a smaller area. So instead of the full bucket where you might not be able to get it down in the ground, if you got a narrow bucket, sometimes it'll go in there a lot easier. So we got one of those. I'm looking forward to using it. We've got some new like lawn and garden stuff. Recently, we've got a still battery operated chainsaw, which we're going to do a review on and use pretty soon because I'm out of wood in the shop. And now I can actually get that door open with the ice melted. And then I have a larger weed eater from Stihl that takes the same battery, so that's convenient. So we'll have 2 batteries at all times, no matter which piece of equipment we're using. So Kelly will probably still use our little one around the house, like with the sidewalks and stuff like that. She likes that smaller one. But we'll be doing reviews on both of those.
Country Dad says they've already got potatoes, spinach, lettuce, and onions planted.
Wow.
Nice.
Now, you didn't do a video on that. I didn't see that. I saw you.
Maybe it's coming up.
Saw you breaking ground. Yeah, maybe you're ready. Denny.
And then he said like a 12-inch. I'm assuming he's talking about the auger.
It's actually maybe a little bigger. I'm thinking it's more on the line of about 18-inch. But I need to shorten it. Obviously, I'm going to do one complete revolution, and then I'm going to cut the rest off. And I think I need to neck down the stem to where it's the right size to fit on the 3-point post hole digger. So that should work fine. Now, I saw when you were digging potatoes, you were using one of those middle busters. Looked like it was working fairly nice, and something like that would stay down in the ground and wouldn't bog your tractor too much. So if we ever do like bulk potatoes, that's something I'm going to look at. I have a what you call it, a ripper shank, I forget what they call it, subsoiler. I have a subsoiler that I can actually drill some holes in and mount one of those wing deals on there. I forget what those were called with the double sides. One side would be like a plow, but it's kind of like a double plow. So, but looked like it worked really well. But our cousin at their pumpkin patch grows a bunch of different varieties of potatoes, and we get them for free. So that's why we haven't really grown potatoes here. But one thing I do want to look at is growing some feed corn, which is not sweet corn. It's like the field corn that they grow around here, because I've got some open areas that I could plant that in, and then we could start supplementing the feed for the chickens that we have to buy, because I recently picked up a corn grinder or a grain grinder that we can run off of a belt pulley, and then also have a corn sheller that I picked up at the auction, I think 2 weeks ago. So we're going to be hooking that all up. I got a Maytag motor, an old Maytag motor from a friend of mine that I can use to run both of those pieces of equipment. So that'll be nice.
Julia Bozan says she's in Canada and she's about to start her stuff indoors.
Yep. So are
Us
we,
too.
your zone's not too different from us. You may be one zone different, I think, if I remember right. So it'll be about time.
Got some stuff to start in the basement, and Mark will be starting for the greenhouse. So
Yep.
between the two growing stations, we'll have our stuff.
I thought about starting the stuff in the basement down where Kelly has her grow lights when I have it all in one container, and then when I up pot, then go to the greenhouse out there, because I'm only going to have 2 or 3 little pots that I'm starting everything in before I up pot. So I'll probably do that. That way I don't have to worry about overnight temps and be running the heater and stuff out there. So I think that'll work a little bit better.
We're gonna be fighting for room then.
Yeah, well, it's just like 3 little cups is
Oh.
all I'll have.
Country Dad says planting videos coming up, and that he also just bought a corn sheller.
Oh, very nice. I saw your grinder that you had in that one video that you were running, I think, with electric motor. But we're going to try to run ours with that little gas Maytag motor when I get that done. Still got the John Deere E hit miss engine in the works. I haven't done any more since that last video, other than go check on my parts, which are coming along really well. So we'll be doing a video coming up soon. We're going to do a complete tear down of that motor once I get the gaskets and everything I need, and then right back together again. So we've got some good literature on that. We'll be able to do a real good tear down on YouTube, because there's really not a tear down video on YouTube. I've looked all over the place. All they have is, hey, let's start this thing. So we're going to make an actual tear down video and rebuild video. So it's going to be something that's been needed on YouTube, and we'll make it happen.
Jamie says she hasn't had a garden for years, but started some stuff this week. They got moved into their little house.
Jamie Strickland,
Yeah,
regular viewer.
we're building. We got moved into our little house we're building, and she can't wait for spring.
Nice. Sounds like you got your work cut out for you there, which labor of love.
Country Dad says, "Do you have a hit and miss catalog?"
Now, you mean parts catalog? If you mean parts catalog, I go to Flywheel Supply on the internet, and you can get basically any part you need for several different brands of hit and miss engines. It's pretty cool. Nice website. I've seen everything on there that I need, so that's going to work out well. And then my buddy Matt's coming here in June. I'm hoping to have it all back together before he gets here because he's really into the hit and miss stuff. And he's probably going to help me, if I don't have it done already, get everything timed right with the push rod that comes out of the crankcase that operates the igniter and all that. There's some timing that you got to do in that, and when you put the magneto on, it's got to be timed with the gears inside, which I'll probably already have done. But when he gets here, we're going to fire that thing up, so that's going to be exciting.
Jamie says, "Love you guys so much." Thanks,
Love you
Jamie.
guys too. We couldn't do this without you guys watching, and this is why we do it, because we want people to learn how to do stuff the old way and get away from doing everything from the big box store or something like that. If you need something, make it. Be able to make scratch-made food and all that. So that's our goal, and that's why we try to get out to as many people as we can. It's amazing that like 96% of the people that watch our videos are not even subscribed. So if you're one of those people, hit the button, because that's what gets the video out to more people. So if your video is not popular, they don't show it to everybody. It's got a real small audience. So the more popular your videos are, the further you reach people. And when we reach more people learn how to do this stuff. So I said from the get-go, I'm not going to beg and plead for everybody to like and subscribe and share and all that. And I've tried not to do that. I don't think I have. So, but that's the way I wanted to go forward, because when I watch videos, half of the videos is make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, hit that button. But it's kind of irritating. I like getting down to business in my videos. Sometimes I ramble a little bit, but try not to.
Country Fun says to Jamie, "Congrats on the house and garden excitement." Yeah, Jamie, why don't you tell us what you're starting, what you'll be growing in your garden? And then she's wondering where her pudding is because she hasn't gotten any in the mail yet.
Does it go well in an envelope? I can tell you that.
A little messy.
But it was enjoyed by all. I
It
took it, or did I take it or did you take it? I took it.
No, you
didn't I?
took it. You
Yeah.
brought it.
I took it to Kelly's work, and everybody really enjoyed it. Was the doc there that day?
No, but I saved her some. I forgot to ask her if she got it.
My doc actually wasn't working that day when I took it in, but she was coming the next day.
Everybody I work with loves him. They think he's the best man ever because he feeds them.
That's the way to every woman's heart too, is through their tummy.
Well, every nurse is her.
I always try to take care of the people that take care of me. Like I said, unfortunately, my doctor wasn't even there that day that I took that in, but Kelly saved her a piece for the next day. And the doctor that was there took a picture and said, "Look what you missed today." So she almost came to work just to have that, she said.
Country Dad says he's got a 1.5 horsepower Fairbanks Morse that runs an air compressor. It pumps the air for the big Fairbanks Morse engine. Oh, I think you should go down and play with him someday. He sounds like he's got good toys.
That sounds a little creepy, but yeah, it'd be cool to meet you guys for sure. If you ever find you need parts for that, I know a guy. The guy that south of me down here, boy, he's got parts you would not believe. He's got motors that I've never even heard of. I didn't even know Air Motor made a hit and miss engine, but I guess they made one for when the wind wasn't blowing. It had the same mechanism that the windmill did. So rebuilding one of those right now. But I want to do a video down there featuring him and a shop tour in his shop, because when I walked into his shop, I just fell in love. And even with this guy, he's old school, kind of hunched over guy. He's a machinist. He's got all the machine stuff. He's got all the stuff to maintain and test all the magnetos and all this stuff, all the parts. When I took my magneto to him, it had one of the case covers on the end was broken on one of the corners. And I told him, I said, I don't know if you can still get this part, but this is really the only thing wrong with my magneto. And he opened the drawer and pulled a new one out. I said, yeah, you can get it. He's got just about everything. But I'm going to be really sad when he's no longer part of this world, because that's going to leave a huge hole in the hit and miss community, because he provides such a service down there and he's got so much knowledge. I've been picking his brain. I had to take another part down to him the other day, because the little cover that goes behind the gear on the magneto that bolts to the motor, I didn't take it down. Well, he's putting it together, so he wanted that cover to put in there. He said he'll glue the gasket on it for me and everything. And there's even like a foam thing that goes in there I had no idea what about. So I told him, I said, hey, are you going to be home? I'm going to come by and drop this thing off. He says, no, I'll be at an appointment. I said, well, can I just put it on your workbench? He says, no, I wanted to visit when you came down. So I had to wait until he was there so we could sit and visit for a while. But fantastic guy. I hope he'll let me come down and interview him and do a shop tour. He's got, I call it junk outside, some rusty iron out in his yard. He walked me all through that stuff and showed me everything. When we build the ice cream maker that we're going to make out of this hit and miss engine, he's even got the parts for the cart. So he said he'll make me a good deal on those parts. And that's where I got the grain mill from, with him also as a belt-driven grain mill. So super cool guy. I hope we can get a video down there. When my buddy comes out in June, I'm taking him down there to meet the guy, because he's going to fall in love with that guy just like I did. Anything else?
Your mom wants you to make another one of the puddings and bring it to her.
A whole one?
Well, it's your mom, yeah.
Awfully greedy there, Mom.
Country Fun says a shop tour would be fun.
Yeah, it would. I think your husband would really like that if he's into this kind of stuff. So, and you guys are in Oklahoma, so it's not that far. It's just right across Kansas.
Linda's on. Linda B.
Linda's here. Oh, we saw
Hi,
you
Linda.
got a new video too, so we got to go watch your video tonight. If you didn't know, Linda B has her own YouTube channel. She started up. She does cooking videos, so give her some love if you're into cooking stuff.
Jamie said she started some tomatoes and green peppers in little containers, and then she's going to plant green beans, squash, zucchini, pumpkins, and she's not sure what else.
What's a zucchini pumpkin?
Zucchini pumpkin.
That sounds amazing. Sounds like you're going to have a nice garden.
All the good stuff.
How big is your garden? What's your space you're working with? You're welcome, Linda.
We're adding some more herbs into ours. I'm going to try to commingle with Mark's stuff this year and do some more. We used our dill a lot last year.
We did.
Do some more dill, and
Made lots of pickles.
we actually have an herb tub that he did the, what do you call that?
Lick tub, the
self-wicking?
water wicking lick
Water
tub.
wicking, yeah.
If
He's got a video on that. Those things work out awesome.
It works so good you don't have to water near as much.
Especially for the herbs. They really like having the water at their
Yep.
disposal. But yeah, I'm hoping to sneak in steal some room in his garden.
There should be plenty, and I like commingling with Kelly anyway, so I think it'll work out. Boy, the people that said law enforcement and nurses make the best couples, they nailed that. We're living proof right there. What'd Mom say?
She loved the hanging cabbage. The tetherball cabbage for the chickens.
No, there was something above that.
Oh, she said, I share with the other ladies.
Oh, yeah, she lives in a retirement community down there. I don't want to say community, a facility. And she always shares with the other folks there and always cooks goodies for them and stuff. So they really like her down there too. I chip off the old block, I guess. She's heavy into cooking and stuff like I was. In fact, she taught me a lot of stuff I know. So got a lot of my good recipes from Mom. Any more questions you guys got? That's what we're here for. So shoot it, and we'll try to answer them for you. Things that we got coming up or things that we're doing. Otherwise, I don't think we're going to go an hour because we're already 30 minutes in. If we're not getting any questions, we'll let you guys get back to your evening. So what else we got going? Just the standard stuff. I think I covered pretty much everything. I want to get the lawnmower out on the lawn now. I think our bit of ice that we had over here in the shade is gone. I got to check and make sure we're not muddy. But it'd be nice to get the mower out with the bagger on and pick up some of the debris on the lawn. Go pick up all the sticks and get them out of there, but then go
Not
over
until
with...
the dandelions start growing.
Oh, I forgot about the dandelions. What if we do it before the dandelions grow? Would that hurt anything?
Yeah.
Run by me again. What's up with that?
All the good insects have nests and live under all of the stuff you're wanting to pick up. So
all
if you
the
pick it up
leaves-
now,
the
you're
leaves
gonna,
and stuff on the yard.
yeah, you're gonna kill off all the beneficials.
Can't do that then.
You gotta wait till dandelions were.
Scratch that idea. So what's it mean when the dandelions come up?
Well, then there's food for everything, and everything starts moving around and emerging from the ground and from where they've overwintered.
So by then the eggs have hatched and
Yeah. So now they're not a threat because they have food, they have homes. They
everything's turning nice and green around here. It's nice. It's been kind of sluggish because of the frozen. It's been so cold, but usually we're greened up by now. But it's getting there. Something popped up.
was your mom giving an update on your sister?
Oh, well, we'll have to talk to that in private. I don't know if my sister wants her
Too late. It's already aired.
business on here, Mom. This is live
It's
and
not a
everybody can
text.
see it.
Oh, Ruby.
So don't get it mad at me, sis, because Mom's putting your business on Front Street here. I don't think my sister watches this stuff, so maybe she won't get upset.
Country fun is laughing. Do you eat dandelion greens? We don't specifically, but heard that you can.
Yep.
In fact, one of my coworkers and I keep discussing that she pulls them and cleans them and root to flower uses it. So
Most
There's-
people go crazy trying to get rid of the dandelions. However, my bees love them, so I try not to spray anything to get rid of them, like 2,4-D or anything like that. There is areas in the yard where there's some non-beneficial weeds that are pretty stubborn that I've sprayed, but it doesn't last long. It washes out fairly quickly. But also heard purslane is very good for you too, and it's not as common here. I have seen some in the garden though, so I've been wanting to try purslane. Out in California, that stuff was thick. We could have like survived on it. We had so much purslane out in the big garden out back.
and that's one of the things in that book that I bought that says it either lowers blood sugar or cholesterol. I can't remember which one.
Both
It's
of
on
which I need to lower a little bit.
Country Fun says dandelion jelly. I never heard of dandelion jelly until I moved to Nebraska. And not necessarily from fellow Nebraskans, but it's when we bought this property and I started following more like homesteading, canning groups and stuff like that. People started talking about it. But when you look at the recipe, it's got so much sugar in it. There's no benefit to it.
Every jelly recipe's got a ton of sugar.
Yeah. You lose the benefits of whatever you're using it for. It's pretty.
I always
and I'm
tell
sure it tastes
everybody
good with all
though,
the sugar.
when you're using jelly, you're not eating like a half a cup of it. It's just maybe a tablespoon on
Yeah,
something.
but when
So
you're
it's not crazy bad, but yes, there's a ton of sugar in any jelly. Do they make the dandelion jelly from the blossoms, or do?
Yeah, from the flowers. You pull the green off and just use the yellow flower.
I remember it being like yellow,
Hmm.
so that's probably why.
Jamie says zucchini and pumpkin.
And
Wait,
pumpkin,
and pumpkin.
not zucchini pumpkins. It's not.
Well,
a
it was
special breed.
zucchini, comma, pumpkin.
You didn't read the comma. Ruby, what are you doing?
Trying to get her 15 seconds of fame.
She dropped her big plastic chewy and made a bunch of racket.
Her daughter's doing herbs with her little grandkids that are 2 and 4. They're so excited.
Sweet.
Not sure what the size is. Dad would plow mom a spot. He passed away and she hasn't had one since.
That's sad. But I hope
She
you
needs
get.
to find her a neighbor like Mark, because Mark went and plowed our neighbor a spot so she could plant some tomatoes. Was it tomatoes?
Her whole garden. I plowed it.
Oh.
I rototilled her garden because they have a rototiller. I don't yet. So we traded work. I tilled their garden with their tiller, and then they let me till our garden with their tiller. So that worked out good last year. My cousin has one that he let me borrow the year before, but that's like 45 minutes away from us. That we'd have to go pick it up and then take it back. But this is our next door neighbor down the road, so that worked out good. One of these days I'll have my own tiller though.
Beth says she leaves the dandelions because they're usually the first flower for the bees
Yep.
until other flowers show up. I love the dandelion greens mixed with the mild mustard and lamb's quarter.
We got plenty of lamb's quarter, that's for sure. How is that beneficial? Have you heard anything
I'd
on
have to
that?
look it up. I didn't know that we had it.
We
Is that
got
the one with the velvety leaves?
I don't think so. Of course, I don't let it get that big. So, but I know exactly what it looks like, and we had a ton. We could corner the market on lamb's quarter here. It's crazy. Now, Kelly wants to get more into herbal stuff and try to back away from the big pharma stuff because being a diabetic, I take a handful of pills every day to keep that in control and my cholesterol and all that. But I never tried that, and I'm kind of leery. She's going to have to, educate me a little bit because I've known people that got really, really heavy into that stuff, and they were almost poisoning themselves because they were doing too
a
much.
balance.
Yeah.
Most of the stuff that works that way, we already incorporate into our diet anyway. So
Yeah, and it's hard to know dosages and stuff because they'll say something's beneficial, but then come to find out you got to eat 1.5 pounds of it to get the benefit, which, not always feasible.
the people that have real issues are the people that get the supplements from like the chiropractors and all that stuff that have a bunch of other junk other than what is supposed to be beneficial.
Well,
in it.
good thing we don't have real issues. That would be terrible.
Jamie says they're having a shared garden that will be fun. Her husband's going to plow it this year.
Very nice. That's a good project to do together, and probably helps her out too. That's fantastic. Great job.
Yeah, we need to get Ramona here during planting season.
Yeah.
Save both our backs.
Ramona would love working out in the garden, but she only comes about halfway through June into about halfway into July. After July 4th, she goes home. But we're looking forward to that visit too.
She didn't even make it to be able to pick anything out of the garden.
She could have planted corn with me one year, my second stand of corn, but I never got it planted because we were busy doing other stuff like going to the pool and stuff like that. She loves going to our pool here. It's a fantastic pool that they have here in our town. It's got water slides and really super neat.
Have you ever made red bud jelly?
Red bud, would that be like the Texas red bud tree, or is there some
There's a
kind of
red
other
bud tree. Yeah.
red bud that I'm not?
Actually, that's the ones that I said I wanted to start getting because they're pretty.
They're beautiful
flowers
trees. They look like tulip trees or something, don't they? The buds kind of
Well,
look
the
like
flowers
tulips.
are smaller.
He,
Not like that one we had in Denair.
he says red bud tree ?
Yeah, from a red bud tree. The red bud jelly is made from red buds off the red bud tree.
Okay. Yeah, I've never done that.
We don't have any local to us, so I mean, Mark can make anything out of anything. So
I've even seen corn cob jelly. You can make
Yeah.
jelly out of anything as long as you dump enough sugar in it. But I guess they soak corn cobs in something where they get the. You can make jelly out of anything. What's mom saying now?
Talking about something on Facebook, you were going to the doctor for tests due to your diabetes. They might want to know if you are okay.
Yeah.
Well, they
I'm-
already know that he's okay.
I'm
They did all
good.
the tests.
Kelly just told me when she got home from work today that the doc viewed my tests from the other day and all was well. So I thought it was going to be some kind of scan, but basically it was a 4-point blood pressure that they did. They did both arms and both legs. And what they did is they used an ultrasound machine like they use for the pregnant women to hear heartbeats and all that stuff to find my heartbeat. And then the blood pressure cuff would inflate, and then the sound would go away. And then how it works is it deflates, and then when the pressure comes back, that tells you what your blood pressure is. But I guess that was all good. So that's good news. But
Country Dad says no more jelly for you.
no more jelly for you. For sure. Kelly calls me a non-compliant diabetic, which I kind of am. Like
He
yesterday.
complies with the medicine portion.
Yeah. Yesterday at lunch, I had 2 pieces of pie because it was so good. We have a restaurant that's about, 40 minutes away or more, that over in a neighboring town, it's run by some Mennonite family. And the pie there, my gosh, that
It is
pie.
good, and I don't like pie.
I would drive a half a day to have some of that pie. It's so amazing. I don't know what they do to make their pies, but absolutely phenomenal pies. Every
Doesn't
one I've
scratch
tried.
everything.
They had a peanut butter chocolate pie. It was amazing. The coconut cream. I had a banana cream and a berry. How do you make berry pie better? I mean, what did they do? Did they have magic berries or something? This was crazy. Best berry pie I've ever had. Reminded me of my great aunt's berry cobbler that she used to make for our family reunion. That kind of same flavor.
Country Dad, you're no help. He says you don't want your blood sugar to get too low.
True, that causes just as much problem when the hypoglycemia is real. Thank you.
Except in your situation. You've had it, once in your entire diabetic history?
Yeah, the doc put me on some weird new medication, and I woke up in the middle of the night, and I was like, not blood pressure, but my blood sugar was like crashing.
It's the same medication you take now.
Just a different dose?
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, I woke up in the middle of the night, and there was some weird stuff going on. Scared me. Kelly immediately checked my blood sugar, and that was it. She got me something sweet to eat and cured it, but we backed off on that medication, and I guess I'm still taking it. It's just a lower dose.
Jamie says, just don't miss your meds. So glad your test came out well. I think it's all things in moderation.
I missed them this morning. I forgot to take them before I went to breakfast. But
Did you take them later?
no,
Usually what you
because
do.
by the time I got home, it was like 2:30, and I didn't want to take my morning meds that late. Even though I stay up till midnight, I could take my PM meds then.
I'm not going anti-medication. If I'm not steering him towards that. I would just like to see him. He's one of the medications he's on, I think, is affecting his liver. So to save his liver,
I don't want to be on dialysis.
and well, that would be your kidneys.
Oh, thought the liver had something to do with it.
No,
She
liver
was a
fil-
nurse.
liver
I was only an
filters most of
EMT.
most of your medications. I just would like to see him come off some of them, and especially the ones that might be causing further damage and aren't as beneficial.
I could fix a lot of it with diet changes, but I mean, it's that balance. Do you enjoy life, or do you miss out on a lot of stuff just to live a few years longer? So
The way you cook, though, you don't miss out on a lot because you can take all that stuff and make it taste really good.
yeah, but in the
I'm not
evening.
saying eliminate it and never eat it.
In the evening, my sweet tooth starts to throb.
And he has absolutely no willpower.
Not in the evening. All day I'm pretty good, but in the evening, like when I sit down, my sweet tooth starts throbbing, and I gotta have something. I've been doing better. Like last night, I had an apple, which is sweet and kind of satisfied me. But and I have some Otter Pops in the freezer that aren't
Or pure
really
sugar.
high calorie, but I guess there's some sugar in those, but it's mostly ice water.
Oh, it's mostly syrup.
Colored ice water with some sugar in it.
Have you ever grown stevia? I mean,
Stevia.
It says stevie, but stevia.
No, I have not, but I have tasted it, and it's pretty good. If you were a sweet tea drinker, you could really switch to that, and you wouldn't really miss the sugar because it's got a real sweet taste to it.
I prefer agave syrup, and it's lower on the glycemic index.
And you can make tequila with that. Anything else?
Doesn't look like it. Jamie says, "Oh my goodness, you sound like my husband. It's so hard to pass up pie, cake, cookies. Literally anything that has an ounce of sugar in it, he cannot pass up."
The struggle is real.
He's got the activity down. He stays pretty active, but fails in his diet.
Except
I
in
do
the
a little
winter.
bit better on my diet, but I don't have the activity level.
The winter's tough because when it gets cold, you got to get that motivation to get out there and start the fire in the shop and then go do something, or just sit in my chair and watch YouTube or movies. So sometimes I end up doing that too much. So I've got my winter body right now. So I was a little concerned starting to haul corn this early. I haven't burned off any of my winter tallow yet. So I was worried about getting up and down out of the truck today. So I did fine though. I hauled 3 loads, and when you load out of a grain bin, you're in and out of the truck a lot because you got to keep moving the truck. So you're in and out of the truck like 8 times when you're loading, just loading. So I was fortunate when I was unloading, I didn't have to get out much. So it kind of evened its way out, and I had like a 45-minute drive in between. So I got to, recoup or whatever. So
You're laughing at your tallow comment.
said they're working on that there too.
Yeah. They said they grew stevia in their garden last year, and then they use it in all their sweets. So
That-
do you just dry the leaves on that, and how do you process it to use and stuff?
Also, what dates do you plant out down in Oklahoma? Because here we can't safely plant out until around May 1st, but we have to watch the 10-day forecast also, even when we're doing that. Like last year, we couldn't plant out till almost June 1st because we had a late cold snap. So that was bad. And then we had an early cold snap coming into fall. So ruined our tomatoes when we were just starting to get tomatoes. Luckily, we had a bunch canned up already.
Yeah, April 15th. They're almost a full month ahead of us.
Sweet. I know out in California, March 1st was the date we could get stuff in the ground. So they're 2 months ahead of me out there.
Beth says the evening's the worst time for her wanting sweets too. Been trying to eat popcorn instead, but some nights that just doesn't work. I've always been told drink a glass of water and see if that curbs the craving. Actually, what causes you to crave the sweets is your blood sugar being elevated. So usually when you're craving that hard, it's because your blood sugar is spiked. So, but I've heard drink a glass of water and see if you can curb that craving. And I've never tried it, but I once heard that like when you're craving sweets between meals, to eat a salad, the lettuce does something like to equalize. I don't know if that plays with your blood sugars or not. Maybe because of the fiber, but
Yeah.
eat a small salad and that'll help.
Interesting. Now I know it maybe has to do, I don't know what it is with evenings and addiction, because I remember when I had the nasty habit of chewing tobacco, there towards the last I was tapered off to where I was only having or using it at night when I would sit in my chair and watch TV. I could go all day long at work, all morning. I wouldn't crave it when I woke up, but if I sat down in my chair to watch TV, I had to have it. And it's weird that I didn't crave it all day long. Didn't bother me at all. But in the evening, if I didn't have some, I was in my truck on the way to the store 20 miles to buy it.
That's
Crazy.
because you sit down and you're not doing anything else.
Yeah. Or if I,
And the cravings are because you've eaten dinner and now your blood sugar's spiked and then it's come back down.
back when I was younger and we would go to the bar and have a beer or something, maybe on a Friday or weekend or after a dinner or something like that, that was another time that I really craved it, when I was like at a bar and putting one down. But weird how you can go all day and not even think of it.
Beth says the rule for planting there in Ohio is after Mother's Day.
We
That's
got
pretty much where we're at.
Yeah, we got kind of a rule here. It's about corn. They say knee high by the 4th of July, and then you'll be okay.
Yeah, but that doesn't tell you when to plant it. Just
Well,
tells you that your plant's going to be okay if it's knee high by the 4th of July.
the farmers here got it figured out, though. So.
Well, yeah.
Oh, something else I wanted to make you guys know about is I spoke with the farmer that I drive for today, and I want to do a special with him, and he says he'll do it, about more about commercial farming and how commercial farmers are even trying to do things right, because commercial farmers get a lot of demonization on like homesteader channels and stuff like that. They always get demonized that they're the devil, that they're just spraying all these chemicals all over the place and don't care about the environment, which is absolutely not the case with the farmers here in Nebraska. So I wanted to do a special on that, and we spoke a little bit about it today. It's going to be really cool. So stay tuned for that. We'll get that going. It's going to be lots of great information on how the bigger farmers are actually doing what they can to be good stewards of the land that they have. So it's going to be very informative and very interesting.
Is that going to be something soon or
Yes.
fall or?
He said we can get it done fairly soon. There's also a guy coming in June that they're having come out to do a talk on different stuff they need to do with the soil, with microbes and fungus and all this other stuff that puts the life back in the earth, and how to do that, and how to inoculate your seeds and stuff like that to where they have what they need to grow without dumping loads of fertilizer on the ground. And he explained it today, was very interesting, was the chemical companies don't care if they actually just sterilize the dirt with the chemicals, because what's that mean? You need more chemicals from them to make stuff grow. So it's almost an incentive to them to kill everything live in the dirt, whereas the farmers here now want to bring it back and put the life back in the soil. So very interesting. I think you guys are going to enjoy it.
Beth says that they say that too about knee high by the 4th of July. I think is what she's saying.
Yep.
That is less than many years. It's more than knee high unless you're 7 foot tall, and it's our neighbor's corn, not hers.
I know when I planted here, like May 1st, mine was taller than knee high the 4th of July. In fact, we could have planted another stand with the low day corn. We could have put another stand in around the 4th of July and still got a harvest, because I think they have like 68 day corn. Pretty wild.
Jamie says she's not working right now, so she's been watching a lot of cooking shows, and her husband just got her a new mixer.
Ooh.
So it's hard not to try new recipes.
Now, what kind of mixer? We've been looking at mixers because the newer KitchenAids, they don't have near the power that the old ones do. My mom's got one I'm trying to wrestle back from her that I'll trade her for mine, because she doesn't do any real heavy work with hers, just maybe mixing up some cookie dough or batter or something. But I had it before, and I knew it has lots more power, because I have attachments that go on our KitchenAid, like the meat grinder. I can grind meat in that thing. It'll almost stop this mixer, and it'll get hot and start like smoking and stuff. Pretty crazy. So we think we found another brand of mixer that will actually accept KitchenAid attachments, which would be nice, because I got a lot of them. I got the spiralizer, and I got the grinder, and a bunch of other stuff. So it would be nice to have something to use those attachments on.
She said she told you you could have it.
Oh, okay. Well, I just got to get them swapped then. I think, I don't know if it's the same size. Do we have the 5.5 or the 4.5 quart?
I'm not sure. It's at least the 5, I think.
Yeah, I think the one she has is a 4.5. So I got to make sure that that's going to suit our needs. Otherwise, we're going to have to buy something else. Because we need at least 5 quarts. I think I would love to have a 5.5 or 6 or
Now I
even
wish we kept
12.
that big one we had in
Yeah.
the garage.
We sold a really big one. We had was it a 20 quart?
Was it 20 or 12?
Might have been a 12. We
I
had a
think it was
12 quart
12.
mixer that my mom had purchased for making large batches of Portuguese sweetbread. It was real nice because you get making the real large batches. It's quite a workout. But she bought that mixer. We had it in the garage for a while. We only used it a couple times to make sweetbread, but
Well, you were working at the time too, so you didn't
yeah,
have near
I
the
was
time.
I wasn't retired, but that would be cool to have that big one again, that we could make some bread up or whatever in that big mixer. Anything?
Nope. Any more questions, guys? Comments?
We're coming up on
Requests?
56 minutes. So yeah, any video requests, anything you want to see that you'd like us to look into or do or give you a recipe for or something like that. I'm about 5 videos ahead right now, so I try to do them every other day. Sometimes I'm a little late on the day if I have to make the video that morning, but I've been doing enough lately with this good weather that I've jumped ahead a little bit. But it's kind of nice to have a little break where I'm not rushing. But you guys will forgive me if I miss a day, right? What else? I think we covered just about everything. So if nobody has anything else, we're going to split, I think. If any questions pop up, because you can view this as a video on the channel once we're not live anymore, you can view it as a regular video. So if you have a question or something like that, if somebody asks the question after we sign off, I'll tag that onto the beginning of our next live, which it probably won't be next week because we pretty much answered everybody's questions. So we may wait a month or so before we do another live when there's more stuff going on. So what popped in there at the end?
Country Dad said you're doing great.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, she told you about your brother planting in Oklahoma.
Yeah, my brother lives in Oklahoma around, was it Oglesby or Ramona?
Yeah, well, he's
Right in that area. Works on a pecan farm down there. All right, it's been fun, guys. I'm going to go get in my chair because I've been busy all day long. Been slaving in the kitchen for my wife so she had dinner when she got home after hauling corn all day. Woe is me.
half your ingredients you bought from the grocery store.
Well, you have to have ingredients. It was still all scratch.
Country Dad says a month with several question marks. I'm not sure what that's in response to.
Yeah, we don't get as many questions now because the people that watch, have already asked and maybe they don't have anything else to ask. So
Beth says, I wish you could have heard me laughing. You are so funny at times. Thanks for the delightful hour. Enjoyed it so much.
good. That's what
Jamie
we're here
said,
for.
we're in Indiana and have no idea when we are supposed to plant anything. I better get to reading.
Check your zone. You can even actually Google it.
Go to
Google Indiana, whatever area you're in, last frost date, first frost date, and it'll give you a date. But even with that, even though they say you can plan out, say, April, last of April or whatever, always look at your 10-day forecast. Make sure there's not something in there that's going to cause you problems before you plant out. If you see something, you need to wait till that date before you get going, unless you have the means to cover things out in the garden and keep them from getting frosted. But when it gets really cold, Doesn't matter what you got it covered with, the air in the inside of that is eventually going to get that cold, just like our insulated greenhouse out there. It'll be 100 degrees during the day, but if it's going to be below zero at night, it'll be below zero in that greenhouse because it's uninsulated. So just
There's
the way it
a
works.
website you can go to. I can't think of the name of it right now. It's, I think it used to be a magazine. Anyways, you put in your zip code and it'll tell you your last frost date to go by, so that you know approximately when.
Somebody, people back east right now apparently are getting some very nasty weather with the moisture coming up from the Gulf and the cold air coming up from our area. I guess it's causing some possible tornado stuff down around Tennessee in that area. So we hope all our friends down there are good and get hunkered in and stay safe.
Country Fun says she can't wait for the future videos. They sound great. Country Dad says you give good answers.
Thank you.
Indiana is usually the same as us in Ohio, Beth says. And Jamie's got the KitchenAid. I've never had that kind before. So far, I love it, but I've only made cookies and cake and mashed potatoes.
Yeah. The only time I ever have issues with KitchenAid, if you're making a batch of bread, it's got to be big enough to where the dough doesn't wrap up around the stem above your little implement that you got in there. Because I can do probably a 5 cup of flour bread recipe in that, but anything beyond that, it's going to get up into the mechanism and make a mess.
That's why I usually just do mine in the bowl.
Yeah, and I'm used to
I can't
doing.
remember which viewer said they enjoyed watching me do CPR in the bread.
I'm used to doing bread in my big crock bowl by hand. So when I make sweet bread, I do it by hand in my big crock bowl because that's the way my
Yeah, but this is way more powerful than a mixer.
could be. A lot of kneading involved though, but I get her done. And plus you can feel the dough too. You can feel how tender it is and dry and moist, whatever. So Kelly made some sourdough bread the other day that it looked like there's a little too much flour in it, but I don't know what the recipe was. So, but you can feel that when you do it by hand if it's starting to get too stiff.
Yeah,
You
it
know
didn't
you need
feel
to
right.
stop adding flour. So if you're feeling it and it'll even get dry on it. If it's not sticking to your hands, don't add any more flour because then you're gonna have
Well,
way
it was
too
still
much.
sticking to my hand,
Yeah.
so
It
even after I added all the flour.
should be just barely sticky when you've got enough flour in the mix. So
It was
but it was
another
still good bread.
sourdough try
You
and fail.
made toast with it and it was great. What else did you make garlic bread with it one night when you made spaghetti too? That was great.
Yeah.
So it was still good. All right, folks. We need to make sourdough. Have you ever made Polish?
Is it supposed to say Polish or
Polish
is that
or
a typo?
Polish? If it's Polish, I've never even heard of Polish. Don't know what it is. I'm foolish because I don't know what Polish is.
Yes, it's Polish.
Yes, it's Polish. No, have no
I'll have to
idea.
look it up.
No idea what it is.
Or you could do a video on it and we could learn
Yeah,
something
you guys
from
could do a video on how to make Polish. Get Country Fun on that, unless you're the cook in the family. I'm retired, so I try to do the cooking.
It's a quick version of sourdough.
Oh, very nice. Does it use yeast? Because I know some quick versions actually use yeast. You still have the sour of the sourdough, but it rises and you don't have the issues. I've tried to make sourdough before, and man, you better know what you're doing. And I've never got the leavening effect that you're supposed to get. And I've let it sit and sit and sit. And it looks like when you feed the starter, it just blows up. But when you go to make the bread, it just doesn't want to rise.
Yeah, I've tried it with and without yeast, a couple of different
Yes,
recipes.
a pinch of yeast. So, yeah, I don't know why. I know traditional people don't use yeast in their sourdough, and I know why, because you may not have yeast available, and you need to know how to make bread without yeast. I get it.
Well, the sourdough starter has the yeast in it. So
Yeah, it's
technically
natural yeast.
I just haven't. I think I'm not patient enough in my kneading of the bread.
I've tried.
I've tried
mine
several
patient.
different recipes.
I've tried letting it sit for like 24 hours before, and it just doesn't want to rise. Yeast come from the air. Yes, it's on your body too. That's like when people used to smash grapes with their feet. That's where the yeast came from, was off of those people that were stepping in the grapes barefooted. That would make the wine ferment. All right, folks, we're really going to leave this time. I promise. So like I said, any questions, we'll tag them on the front of the next live feed. So really enjoyed it. Love you guys. We're glad you're here with us, and we'll see you next time. Figure out how to make this thing turn on. See you guys. Have a good night.